Pleasant good afternoon to one and all. Pleasant good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are on the globe. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today, Wednesday, the 24th day of January, 2024. Welcome, welcome one and all. Hope you had a restful night and hope you're having a productive day and that you will continue to have productive days as the year 2024 progresses rapidly. Imagine today is the 24th day of the year already. By the time we get to next weekend, we're talking about a new month. So imagine that. So welcome one and all, welcome. And as we will implore you at the beginning, share the live. Don't be selfish. Share the live. And people have indicated to me that you should hit the like button so that the people can know that we are on the live, that we are here to give you the credible, valid information. We have again so much to tell you this morning. Again, I know that we're gonna have a challenge when it comes to the time, but we're gonna bring it to you. We are gonna bring it to you. And as I have said, and I wish to remind you, because I noted that some of you have still not subscribed to the YouTube channel, and you still have not liked the page Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Let me tell you, I get notification as the administrator when you like. I can see when you subscribe. These things will come to me. YouTube and Facebook will send a note. So I know. So as I said, we're going to start to administer corporal punishment very soon because some of you have been recalcitrant. You are not doing that. And by doing that, I say whenever we go live, you will get the notification. And also it helps to popularize the channel. It helps to popularize this program. I know we are very popular. People have been commenting almost every place you go, not only in Guyana, because I'm elsewhere as well. People will tell you that they look at the program and that they learn so much from just looking at this channel. People have said so. And I want to start off this morning by thanking all those of you who have reached out during the past few days, because on Monday we dealt with this issue about caution statement, and we have been inundated with calls, people telling us how educational they found that particular issue, how we dealt with it. Some old detective, retired detective, said that even the lawyers could not have explained it better, and they complimented us on the way we dealt with caution statement, how it should be taken, how it is tendered, and all of that. So we'll continue to come here and we'll continue to teach because we have vast knowledge and experience, and I think it is important that we pass it on. And I've said before, the method of passing it on, that is using this medium, might not be very popular with some, because it might be unorthodox, but it is effective. It is effective. And as we say, the reason why we have to choose this method is because we are now person non grata. Long ago, we both would have been invited to do presentations and all of that. But now I guess if they see your rugged quarters, they might want to arrest you again. So therefore, we are keeping our distance, but at the same time, making sure that the information is disseminated. So welcome one and all. My colleague is already in the studio, rearing and ready to go. And as we would say, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day. Again, I always say, give thanks and praise for being in this, or seeing the new day. You have to give thanks and praise. Many persons would not have been that fortunate. And again, I continue to be amazed by the number of students who are just there from the time this program is scheduled. People on YouTube started logging immediately. And when we go live on Facebook, the Facebookers will then jump on. So this morning again, full schoolyard. Full schoolyard. Rain or no rain, mosquito, no mosquito. The students are here. Our loyal, dedicated students are here to get the information. So welcome one and all. Welcome. We're going to do the roll call in a short while. And then we're going to move straight into the many issues that we have to discuss this morning. And we'll start seeing very, very knowledgeable program. And we'll continue to bring you the information. As I indicated to my colleague a while ago, I said, look, we both benefited from training locally and internationally. And it doesn't take anything from us. It doesn't take much. I mean, it takes some time and little resources to be here to share the information. But it doesn't take that much for us to come here and disseminate the information. One policeman met me not so long ago. I said, Skipper, I really want to know how I could get this knowledge that you have. And I said, well, come let me bust your head and put some inside. And we had a laugh over it. And I explained to him what he should do if he wants to get knowledge. So share the live. Share the live. Tell a friend. Each of you should try to share to at least 5 persons. Each of you. And as I've said, go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, go to Facebook, like the page, and that will help to popularize the page. So keep going, keep us going, keep us going. And when we see these numbers, we become very anxious and enthused, and we are encouraged to continue. The numbers, that is not to say if the numbers were not this great, we're not going to continue, but it encourages us to make sure that we do our research, we come here and we give the information, because, you know, we like to say, we are proud to say that the things we have said on this program are not contradicted, you know. No one, somebody who's calling, hold on a while. Sorry, somebody was trying to get me there. Can't take that call now. Yeah, we're saying that these things are not contradicted, you know. Don't want us come out to contradict anything that Sloan Conway I've said on this program. No, they don't come out contradict. They come, they send the trolls, and they say, oh, one so was the most corrupt police officer they had in the Guyana police force. They say all manner of craziness they see. But you know, after 37 years, and Mr. Conway had more than I, people know who we are. So we're not going to be bothered with those persons. I noted in recent weeks too, the trolls have not been coming forward on the live to make all of those stupid remarks to try to distract you. So we're not going to be distracted. We are not going to be distracted. Let me run the roll call, and following the roll call, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my colleague, Mr. Conway, in, and we are going to go into it right away. So let me see, the roll call starts. You know, you had a lot of people in the roll call, you know. Oh, I see they did something to us this morning with the roll call, because one moment, I have some names here. When we went live at just after 8 o'clock this morning, the first person on was Derek Trotty. Trotty was the first person. He's not here listed any longer. Then after Trotty, we had Pamela. Then we had Francis Keith from Melanie. Then we had Rastaman. After that, we have Kenneth de Flormont, Evelina Whittaker. She came on at 8:12. Desiree Liverpool came on. Then we had Joan Robertson. All of those names have been removed because of the number of people we have. Then we have Joan Robertson, Sean Rabindranath, the regular, Debbie Collins, John Cummins, Carlisle Jacobs, Wayne Little from the UK. We had, after Wade, we had Patricia Gravesandi, then Vibert Lawson, a regular, Tessa I, Floyd Tapin, and then they knock out all those that I have called. So the first one that we have here is Lucius came in next. Then we had Earl in the thing. Then we had Pauline, Emerson from Brooklyn, Canarsie, Brooklyn. Emerson from Canarsie, Brooklyn. Then we had, Emerson put up Emerson from Canarsie, Brooklyn. Then we had my squad mate, Gaston Taylor, 9556. He said that he's back. He's finished his holiday and he's relaxing. Well, hope you enjoyed your vacation, my brother. Then Joan is here. Then after Joan, Everett from Texas. Then Raul came in next. And I know Raul told me that he should have been in Guyana recently. I don't know if he still is. If you are, please continue to be safe and to enjoy your vacation. Patricia came in. She's from Philadelphia. Jakey was here this morning. Winston from the UK. Barbara came in. Then Sandra. Then Karen. My next squad mate, 9414 Hartman, he's from Arizona. Winston from California. Maureen, Pacific Northwest. You know, it's all over the US, all over Europe, all over Guyana. People are tuning in from. Because after we had Vibert is the East Bank man. Then we have Malcolm, 9218 was Malcolm number, I think. Then we have another Malcolm immediately after Malcolm Ned. We have Malcolm Robinson. Felicia came in. Then we have my friend BV Man Ezekiah is here. Brian, and then Courtney. The Sauls are here. Brian Saul, Courtney Saul, Forgus, and the man from Linden Barley is in the house. Princess Earl from Lamar Spring is here. Then we have a next squad mate of mine at 4:30. Carlton Lewis is in the house. Doreen from Canada, next squad mate, W349. Then we have TK, Terrence King, 9135. He is from California. He joins us from BV Mark Carla. George Carla is here. Como from New Jersey, 8218 is in the house. Anthony, Tallulah, Wayne is here. Cecile, Bonita. Then we have Rhonda. And another squad mate. My squad mates are here. The 9555, Ulrich is in the class. Jacko from Georgia is here. Shetred is also here. Another squad mate, W351, Sheila is in the house. Gordon, Old Police, 6659 was his number. He is from Canada. He's here. Cranston is in the house. Heather, always good to see Heather and the others making comments. Then you have Colin from Queens. Danny, and I know that you indicated to us that you were in hospital. We hope you are recovering. We wish you a speedy recovery, my brother. Ulrich is here. Don't miss a class. Anthony, 11032, Anthony Bradshaw is in the house. He's from East Bank. Then we had Ward. I can't recall seeing Ward Yan before. 12655, he fallen in. Then Janet, Clarence. All of these people are here waiting, you know. We haven't gotten to those who came on when the program started. This was before the program actually went live. Orville, Yulandaya, Kerry, Sheena, Melissa, Evelyn, Ronald, Denise. Denise said today is our birthday. Happy birthday to you, my dear. Happy anniversary to you, Denise Moore. She's thanking God for his blessings for her to see another milestone. We join and to thank you, to praise you, and to wish you all the best. Brennan is in the house. Chilo, don't miss. Gary is here. Rahim, and out of the UK, my old domino buddy, Orin. Then we have Grace. I can't recall seeing Ezzy Azor before. He's here. If you good to see you, my brother. Monica, John, my shooting partner. Then we had Glendis. Then we had Tessa. This is the next Tessa, Tessa Richards. Roy, my friend Roy from New York is in the house. Vernon is in the house. Clifton, and Clifton is from Paris. He's always here. Sherwin is in the house. Those were all those names I called were people in the schoolyard waiting for the class to open. And once the school door was open, the first man was Raul, Lynette from Barbados, Joan. Then we had Winston, Marcia, and the list goes on. Bumi, and the list goes on. And Joel and Carlton. These are all students who don't miss a class. So that's the roll call. Let me move in to say to you, let me make some announcements quickly, and then we're going to go straight into today's, the meat of today's program. Last week, Friday, I said last week, but we had a program on Monday, and I should have announced the passing of a former member, Gaylord Campbell. Gaylord Campbell, his number was 6016. I was advised that he passed away in the USA some weeks ago. I think it would be me now, but it was my mistake. I did not announce it before, but I got the information long before, and I was reminded yesterday, or I think it was Monday, that Gaylord passed. I want to express condolences to his relatives, friends, and all those who were associated with Gaylord. The old police, I always hear people talking about name, but I don't have a memory of having any interaction. I guess he would have left before I joined. Because the number 6016 suggests that he was a very old police. So that's it. And then we have some birthdays today. And the first birthday I want to announce is, I don't know if I can call him a friend, but it's Assistant Commissioner of Police, Errol Watts. celebrates a birthday today. Followed by, we have retired Woman Sergeant, Special Sergeant 4793, Denise Moore. I remember Denise used to be at the Ex-Police Association building, that small building that used to be in the compound there. Ex-Police Association, she used to be there for a number of years. She's celebrating a birthday today. Retired Special Assistant Superintendent Rodwell Mentor. Remember Rodwell Mentor from the Special Constabulary? He's celebrating a birthday today. I remember he worked with me in Borbies for a number of years. We also have celebrating the birthday today a very, very good friend of mine. Very good friend, my shooting buddy, a former member, Mr. Ransford, good luck, former West Indies, Guyana shooting champions. He's one of the more accomplished rifle shooters in the Caribbean, not only in Guyana, in the Caribbean, one of the more accomplished over the years. Represented Guyana at several Commonwealth Games, represented Guyana with distinction around the Caribbean and further afield. I remember he went to Australia. I was there, Australia. We went twice to Australia. We went to India. We went to England. All of those places to represent the West Indies. I think he went to Scotland as well. So Ransford is celebrating a birthday today. All the best, my brother. John, I know you. I saw on a WhatsApp group you sent greetings to Ransford. I did so myself, and we want to wish him all the best. Fine man, I'm sure Mr. Conway, you remember him, Ransford, fine man from the Armory, exceedingly good armorer, shooter, and police in general. So he's celebrating a birthday today. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we are going to move on. CC, welcome, 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 and I hope you are having a wonderful time.
Yes, I'm also, praise the Lord, I'm in the land of the living, doing the work of the Lord, and happy birthday to Ransford, and also to Assistant Commissioner Errol Watts. I mean, I recruited him at the college in Borbies, and I recall a very interesting story that when the ranks in Borbies, they will come down to town to do it in the final month of the training. And when I brought him down, I remember Greta McDonald, she was superintendent in charge of the recruitment in Georgetown. And she told him, Mr. Conway, CC, why you take on this man? He came to me 3 times and I turned him down because he's too short. I said, well, at this time now, he'll grow up in the police force. And he's grow up depend on although the various controversies that he's been involved in. But he's there, and I want to say congratulations to him. And also to Derek, the number who got the gold medal. He was the first among equals this morning. Derek, when we reach shortly, we'll have to have a sip of some red wine.
So good. That's good. And I should also announce a belated birthday of a very good friend of mine who I've not seen for years. I refer to former rank Orlando Britton 8571.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day. We go a long way back. He was in the youth corps for some time, and then when I joined as a special constable at Sparndam in 1973, he was there, and Orlando and those guys held my hands and showed me how to do occurrence and how to do all of these things, how to take message and how to send message and all of that at the station there at Sparndam. That's the first place that I spent any significant time. And people like Orlando was there to guide me. So belated birthday greetings to you, my brother and friend. I know we haven't seen each other for a number of years, but I hope that we will catch up soon. God's willing, I hope we will catch up soon. Let me move on to say, we like to talk with cricket. Tonight, Ulrich and others, West Indies playing the second test against Australia. I think it's at Brisbane. It starts at midnight tonight, Guyana time. And the reason why is because it's a day-night game or a night game, pink ball. And I have some concerns because the West Indies have not done well in pink ball cricket since it started, pink ball test match. I remember one of the first matches they played was against Sri Lanka in Barbados. I was there, and they did not fare too well. So they start tonight. Let's hope they do better than they have done in the past with the pink ball. And then we also have a match just concluded, the West Indies on the 19th there in South Africa. Today they played Scotland, and they won that game. Scotland, they won the toss, insulted Scotland. Scotland ended up with 205. And then they were in trouble at one stage for the only for 3. And then they recovered to get to 206 for 5 wickets. And they did it in comfortable time, had 80 something deliveries remaining. So they had a good net run rate. But they're in some trouble in terms of qualifying because the next game is against England. England is topping that group. And then Australia, they have the same amount of points with Australia, but they have a better net run rate. But Australia plays, I'm saying Australia, I mean South Africa. Let me repeat that. They are in the same group with England, and England is topping. They have 2 games, 2 victories, strong team. And West Indies is there with South Africa. South Africa beat West Indies. It was a good game. And the West Indies now have to play England, and South Africa have to play Scotland. And so therefore, that is a toss-up. The West Indies, if they want to qualify, I guess they have to beat England, because one would expect that South Africa may beat, expect they will beat Scotland, and that will knock us out of the big qualifying, and we got to end up playing for the plate. We don't want to play for plate. We want to play for the cup. So guys, buckle down. And we say you're playing England. England is top in the group, but you can do it. You have to have belief in yourself, and you can do it. So that is in terms of the little cricket. What more that I have to remind you too, Course 74. Many of you are here that we are planning a 50th anniversary, some get together. This year is going to be our 50th year. Those who joined on the 15th of February, and some of us joined on the 1st of March. One Course 74. I think we are planning during the summer to get together. And I also want to take this opportunity to remind persons of Course 106 of the planned reunion. You should get in contact with Charlie. Charlie's telephone number is 347-463-5371. And that course starts at the 10916 Adams and ends at 10950 Tyndall. So that's the, somebody's asking, Norty, you want the location for what? So just to tell you, in terms of Course 74, we have not planned the location as yet, but we are planning. By then we're going to hear what's going to happen, because they're thinking about down in the summer. And in terms of Charlie's reunion for Course 106, just make contact with Charlie, and he's going to advise you of the plans and all of that. Now let me go further to say what is here next. Now, let me go into the meat of this thing. Let me first ask Mr. Conway. Mr. Conway, any announcement you want to make at this stage?
No other announcement.
All right. So the first thing I have listed here for us to speak about is a headline we had. US-based Guyanese held at JFK with 40 pounds of cocaine in jumbo shrimp. And let me read the article, at least excerpts from that article, where a Guyanese 20, what, let me just, here it is. It says several CGIA, that is the Chedijagal International Airport Security staffers, under probe over cocaine in shrimp bus. And it says a number of security and other staffers at the Chedijagal International Airport are under investigation after a passenger who traveled from Guyana to New York was held in New York with 40 pounds of cocaine in his suitcase. Then they go on to say the news source understands that a second passenger may also be in custody in connection with another drug bust. Then it went on, the article went on to say Customer Anti-Narcotics Unit, along with police, are leading the local end of the investigations. And they try to figure out how the cocaine, which was wrapped in packages of jumbo shrimp, was able to make it past all the layers of security at the airport and onto the American Airlines flight Friday night. That's Friday gone. Then it goes on to say, news sources understand that local investigators suspect that there was some collusion between multiple airport staffers from different agencies that allowed for the cocaine to pass through the airport and onto the US-bound flight undetected. And then we are reminded here that the latest bus follows a recent bus in Canada linked to the Chedijagan Airport. In that Canada bus, more than 50 pounds of cocaine was found in an unaccompanied suitcase that arrived on a Caribbean Airlines flight from Guyana. The investigation into that bus is ongoing, and there has been no local arrest. How would this thing get on the place? And let me tell you, I have traveled frequently to the Cherijagan International Airport. Frequently. You go in there, you go to the on international flights I'm talking about. You go to the airline, you check in, they weigh your bags. When they finish weighing your bags, you have to then take your bags to the security people. So once the airline tag your bag, they check your credentials, they have your ticket, they issue your boarding pass, then you personally have to take your bags to the check-in. They put it through the scanner. Once it goes through the scanner, you remain there while it goes through the scanner. Once it goes through the scanner, they will then indicate to you that it is clear for you to proceed to check in. Now, for years, once I traveled through the Cherijagal International Airport, I've had my suitcases wrapped. They shrink wrap them. And that is because I know that there have been cases in the past where people have alleged that having had their suitcase checked in without any illegal stuff, when it arrives at the destination, illegal stuff is found in it. The suggestion, therefore, is that people right there put things in your suitcase when you have checked it in. So as a result of that, I always make sure that my suitcases are wrapped. There have been a few occasions when it goes through the scanner, I'm standing there, they do a secondary check. They pull it aside, they open the suitcase in your presence, they go through it, check to satisfy themselves that nothing is inside. Then if they wrap suitcase, then they give you the tag, that is the tag that the people who wrap it place. You take it back to the person who's wrapping, and based on that tag, they wrap it back, well, for free. You got to pay them. I have had the experience where having gone through and having had them indicate to me that everything is okay, and I went to check in. Then they announced that they want to see me at the gate. They want to do another check of the suitcase at the back. I remember on the last occasion that happened to me, I had to stand there literally for hours. They checked first, or when they checked, they did not find anything. But remember, they had to remove the wrappings. So I had to stand there and wait until the flight was closed. And then the man who doing the wrapping came to the back and he wrapped it. But I was very annoyed because it's not the same quality of wrapping. He brought some transparent thing and he wrapped it there. And then I am made to go on. And I am outlining this for you to know that my experience has been that they do all of these checks. So then the question is, how come cocaine still passing through to get onto flights, to get to Canada and to get to New York without detection? And as is suggested in this report that I just read, there must be some form of collusion. There must be collusion. And let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then I'll come back on this same subject. CC, I'm sure you would have read about this cocaine. This thing, Guyana continues to be a major transshipment point for cocaine because cocaine, as we understand it, is not produced in Guyana, but it passes through from Guyana and straight to Europe and North America. How is it that these things are passing through with such frequency? Explain, CC, if you can.
Well, I can't explain, but I know that Guyana is established that Guyana is a major transshipment point, whether by air or by sea or by land. And as you mentioned there, they go through some rigorous process. At least some of us. I haven't traveled recently, but I'm going to travel during the year, particularly for World Cup cricket, and to be in North America to spend some time there. And as you also mentioned, I always ask for my suitcase to be wrapped, But it had to be collusion and somebody allowing the cocaine to pass. And I hope that they're able to pick up the culprits, those persons who allow that suitcase, and the one that went to Canada undetected. So things are happening, and things are happening behind the scene. Somebody allowing the cocaine to pass.
Some person or persons. And let me say this. The young man, and then I should read this for to say, because this is a 22-year-old passenger, a 22-year passenger. He's a Guyanese, but according to the report, he is a resident. In other words, he get the green card 22-year-old, and he claimed that during the investigation in the US that he admitted to the drug trafficking, but also told investigators that he was expecting to be paid between 5,000 and 6,000 US for ferrying the drugs to the US. And with all of those security cameras, I understand they have security cameras there that are monitored. I understand too that some of these monitors, people in town and elsewhere can see what is going on. So how come, imagine 2 suitcases, and we talk about 40 pounds of cocaine. And a man reminded me that the limit to any one suitcase is 50 pounds. So if he had split them evenly in the 2 suitcases, you're talking about at least 20 pounds of cocaine in one suitcase. One suitcase among shrimp, right? And again, these things must raise eyebrow. A man coming to them with shrimp. Why would you want to take shrimp? These are the days when your traders carrying shrimp to Barbados and other places in the days of shortage of foreign currency. Why would a person want to take shrimp to the US? Shrimp there, as we would say in Ghana, in the US, shrimp there, Dora Dora, all kind of shrimp. You go in any one of those stores. Why would you want to take? So I guess that should have been a red flag at this end. Why would someone be taking that quantity of shrimp to the US? And it then raised no flag for them to realize that something might have been amiss. And I was reminded that some years ago, they had drug sniffing dogs, canine at the airport. All of those things disappear. I recall when I was in the force, they brought a dog, and Roy was Minister of Home Affairs, and there was a bomb sniffing dog that chose to have. And we were very critical of it at the time. We said drugs passing through the airport. Rather than get a drug sniffing dog, you have a bomb dog. And we had drug sniffing dog. There was a man, I think, I can't remember his name now. He came from Canada. And he trained the people in our section. One of the guys who operated there, I remember, was a guy named McDonald, I think was his name, or Summersall. It might have been Summersall. He was one of the main handlers at the airport there. But if drugs are passing through the airport with such frequency, one would have thought in this $1 trillion budget economy that they're going to invest with drug sniffing canines. We didn't see that. I don't see that in the budget. I didn't see that in the budget. So it's a case of priority. That is not a priority to intercept. I wonder why. Because as somebody commented on this live a while ago, 40 pounds of cocaine is not no ordinary street pusher, in my estimation. And in the one in Canada, 50 pounds is not no, I don't know what the street value is of that amount of cocaine, but it got to be big money. Because this man is to be paid 5,000 to 6,000 US, big money. And I don't know why they don't want to invest to make sure that these things are stopped. Because when you travel, again, I say travel frequently, once you travel into the US or any place, where you come from, I say Guyana, you're going through the most rigorous of checks they can have. Most rigorous of checks. All because of the reputation of Guyana being a major transshipment point for illegal drugs. Mr. Conway.
Yeah, I can remember the Canadian. I can't remember his name. I think it was in Larry Lewis' time. We had him there and he did some extensive training. And as you rightly said, we don't hear anything but sniffer dogs, but we hear that dogs are being promoted.
Yeah, well, I don't know why those one of the newly promoted dogs, whether they're involved in that, because the whole set of them get promoted, and on what basis they got promoted. So yeah, but during Mr. Lewis' time, I remember the guy, and he used to do demonstrations. They had some derelict vehicles on the TSU Square, and they would do demonstration, put drugs, marijuana, or anything in the vehicles, and those dogs will go and find it. They will go and they will find that drugs because the dogs were well trained. But now you don't have that, I don't think, and therefore the problem continues. Let me move on. The next issue that I want to touch on is this Madja Commission of Inquiry report. My God, the report is out. And let me start off by saying, I have not seen the report. I have not read the entire report, but the comments that I will make are based on editorial in the Stabrook News and based on other articles in the newspaper, Stabrook News in particular, quoting the chairman of the Commission of Inquiry and the president and all of this. So the Commission of inquiry report was handed over to the president. I think it was Saturday. Now, the first thing that struck me as very strange and unusual is a statement allegedly made by the chairman of the commission. But before I go to that, let me say from the inception, we on this program had expressed skepticism, because you had the first question that arose, if you remember, was when the commission of inquiry was being sworn in. The Minister of Education, Priya Manikchan, was there. And at that time, we asked the question, why would the Minister of Education, who was then expected to be a main witness in this commission of inquiry, present at the swearing in? That question was asked. But apparently, they never intended to call her because she was never called as a witness. Then the next thing that struck me as strange, and we commented on it, when you saw the makeup of the commission of inquiry, especially the lawyer to the commission of inquiry, again, questions were asked, Mr. Keoma Griffith, because we said here, and I remember vividly, that when the negotiations were being made with the government and the relatives of the victims, those who died and those who survived, it was stated that Keoma Griffith was representing some of the relatives. He was acting on behalf of the relatives. So therefore, when the commission of inquiry was announced, and this same person was said to be the lawyer for the commission, he said, well, there's a conflict. How could he have represented these victims, getting them to sign this compensation package, and now he's on the commission of inquiry as the lawyer of the commission of inquiry? And at the end of the commission of inquiry, when they were winding up, this same man made all kinds of comments, pointing blame to all type of people and so on. So therefore, we should not have been surprised with some of the findings of the commission of inquiry. And the first thing that surprised me is that the chairman is alleged to have said, the quoting Stabrook News, January the 20th, he said a fully equipped Major-Dom would not have delivered different result. That is Major General retired Josing is quoted in Stabrook News of the 20th of January this year as saying that a fully equipped Major-Dom would not have delivered different results. And I find that statement to be a ridiculous statement. Basically, I interpreted that to mean that he's saying that even if you had all the firefighting facilities, it would not have made a difference. It would not have made a difference. Before I go on, let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then I'm going to read some things from an editorial in yesterday's Stabrook News. CC, let me bring you in to get, I don't want to run too long, take a big bite. Come in, my brother, and help to explain this Major Commission of Inquiry, the parts of the report that you would have seen. Go ahead.
Like you know, from the inception, we mentioned, or I mentioned that this thing starting with a bias, because here it is, the Minister of Education, and nowhere in the report apart from a photograph of her at the swearing-in ceremony. She shouldn't have been there. And here is it, your ministry there, and no evidence whatsoever from you. I think she delegated Saddam Hussein, to go and give evidence. As I said, I have not seen the evidence. I've seen recommendations, and I'm a bit weary in terms of recommendations, because I had cause to examine quite a number of files sent to me by the police, and good recommendations. But when they do check the recommendations, there is no evidence to support those recommendations. I can recall when I was the OC at Ronville Police Station, I was an assistant superintendent, and there was a firearm application came to me from the sergeant in charge of Providence Police Station. In those days, Ronville covered the whole East Bank. Now they have another division all by itself. And they mentioned that the man he said he was an international trader. He traveled regularly to the Caribbean, Europe, North America to conduct his business. And I thought, hey, that was if he's that person, I should know him. And I sent for him. And I asked him one question. I said, bring your passport, let me see it. It took about 2 weeks before he appeared in front of me again. And in his passport, he had one entry in that passport, and it was in there for a couple of years, where he traveled to Trinidad. So this international traveler who traveled to the Caribbean, North America, and the Europe had one entry that he left Guyana, went to Trinidad, and returned. So I'm very skeptical when I see recommendations, that I need to look at the facts. What caused you to recommend X or Y? And as you mentioned, I have it on here. Better equipped facilities would not have delivered different results, having regard to the cause of the fire and the speed in which it became an inferno. Now, if we had certain things in place, I'm certain 20 children would not have died. If they took action in relation to those windows that were barred up there, people would have escape routes, and they would not have died. And a whole lot of other recommendations, I'll come to them later on, where they're trying to blame APNU. They say APNU do nothing in 2017, 2018, 2019. But when the present government came into place and the minister came into position here, what did she do? You can't blame people like that, that the minister is the person in charge. And with the UNICEF report, the minister mentioned that the UNICEF report went to Parliament and went to Cabinet, and Cabinet approved the recommendations. I know all the minister do is that he send them to the relevant authorities. Didn't check for feedback. They didn't. If you delegate, you don't delegate your responsibility. You delegate authority, giving person the authority to do the job on your behalf, but the overall responsibility belongs to you, remains with you. I can remember that controversial prime minister who told David Granger that you gotta open your chest and take your blows. So the minister opened up her chest and take her blows. She just said she can't just delegate and left it at that. No way, it must not happen. And the whole thing is that the report started on a negative, and therefore you have negative recommendation, Paul.
Let me say this, another part of the statement attributed to the former chief of staff. It says in his remarks, and this I'm referring here again to the article of January the 20th, 2024. So in his remarks, he highlighted that the fire was an act of arson by an individual. And then they say a resident of the dam is currently facing 20 charges of murder. Someone is facing 20 charges of murder. And the chairman of the Commission of Inquiry has already pronounced that this was an act of arson. That is what I said. That is what I said. He highlighted that the fire was an act of arson by an individual. Well, it's only one individual charged, so he has to be pointing his fingers at that individual who is charged. Again, very prejudicial. This is very prejudicial. That is why people were saying from the outset that if you have someone charged, you should not be conducting an inquiry before. You should not be let the court decide on the matter. But they wanted to satisfy or appease persons, so that is why there is this. And then it says further, despite the disclosure of the fire prevention inadequacies at the dam during hearings of the inquiry held in September, Singh posited that even if the dam was fully equipped, the situation would have still delivered the same results. Amazing statement. He's saying that even if it was fully equipped, I mean, even if you had fire extinguishers, even if you had smoke alarm, even if you had all of those things, the Major General retired who chaired this COI is saying that the result would have been the same. In other words, 20 children would have still died, even if you had firefighting equipment, if you had fire drills, if you have all of these things. That is what I find this amazing. I find it amazing that he's saying that the thing could not have been mitigated, right? And then he goes on to say, in explaining the statement, he noted that due to failed efforts in contacting and get the assistance of firefighters, there were stumbling blocks to accessing the building. That is what he said that's what he's reported on the 20th as saying. And then yesterday's editorial, Starbrook News, again, they spoke about it, and there are certain things I wanted to highlight. So in the report released on Saturday, it is stated that the major tragedy occurred because a female student of the dormitory, now they're saying allegedly, set it on fire. In the first thing they said, they're quoted saying, well, these are reported as things said, that the fire was an act of arson. And now in this editorial yesterday, they're saying that the female student of the dormitory allegedly set the fire to the building. So then they go on to say, the closest, and this are just using excerpts of this report, you can see it is yesterday, the 23rd, Starbrook News. You can go and look at it yourself. The closest the report comes to holding anyone responsible in its findings of dereliction of duty by the chief fire officer, Gregory Wickham, in relation to the fire safety deficiencies in the dorm and the poor conditions of the Mada fire station, which had been drawn to his attention, and the failure of the regional education officer for Region 8, Anesta Douglas, who was accused of not forwarding a fire officer's report on deficiencies at the dorm to the council. Then it goes on to say here, it will be interesting to see what the government will do in relation to the findings against the chief fire officer. The matter should be taken to the defense board, and if he is unable to provide satisfactory answers, he should be removed forthwith. Now, this is a man who passed the retirement age, like another man. He's staying, and this is what he finds himself in now. So they're saying that he should be removed forthwith. Partner, let me tell you, if I were in your position, I would try to get my benefit and cut out now, because it looked like you're going to be thrown. You already, the commission of inquiry already threw you under the bus. It looked like the bus is going to move off, because it looked like you're thrown under the bus, but the bus is stationary. So if you don't jump out from under the quick, the bus is going to move off and you are going to be crushed. But let me divert to say, having read that, I think it's in fairness to, we like to be fair on this program, They are saying, that Starbrook News article saying that he was thrown on the bus, and they're saying it will be interesting to see what the government will do in relation to the findings against the chief fire officer. Then they're saying that the matter should be taken to the defense board, and if he is unable to provide satisfactory answers, he should be removed forthwith. Well, the good thing here, I know the minister yesterday, Minister Ben, came out batting for the fire service, not the fire officer. The man came out yesterday during the budget debate and bat for the fire service. Hear what he is reported to have said. That is the Minister of Home Affairs. And Minister, I have always been critical, because I believe that you're over your head in terms of what's going on, and I believe you should retire. But I got to give you some praise and kudos for coming out batting for the fire service yesterday, because he says this. Home Affairs Minister Ben on Tuesday, that's yesterday, said that the Guyana Fire Service was not to be blamed for the low level of fire safety at the major secondary school dormitories, where 20 children were burned to death last May. And they quoted him as saying here, quote, I want to say, not simply in defense of the Guyana Fire Service, that the Guyana Fire Service, under the protocols established, having given the reports in respect of doing improvements in relation to fire safety, does not have the responsibility, or did not have the responsibility to do those things themselves. That's what the minister said. Then he goes on to say, he said that it was the responsibility of the ministry to ensure that the findings and recommendations of the fire service inspection were implemented. It is incumbent on the householder on the owner of the building or whoever is the agency which owns the building to put those things in place for follow-up inspection by the fire service. Exactly, Minister. Exactly. And I'm sorry that you only waited till now to say this. I didn't go to the Commission of Inquiry and let them know, because I found this strange and very early that the lawyer for the Commission of Inquiry was pointing blame at the chief fire officer. As I know it, the fire service will do their inspection, they will make recommendations, and it's for those persons, either the ministry or the building, the owner of the building, they have to make sure that those recommendations are implemented. But here it is, this Commission of Inquiry seems to be suggesting that it was the responsibility of the chief fire officer to implement these things. I mean, you can make the argument that having gotten the report, he did not aggressively pursue or follow up with the ministries to have these things implemented. But to suggest that he was responsible for ensuring that fire extinguishers and all of these things were implemented in this building is an outrageous recommendation or suggestion. Outrageous. Before I go on, let me bring in Mr. Conway to have some more say on this matter. CC, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I agree with you, you know. It's not just passing blame, you know. The thing is about, okay, the leader, Ministry of Education, was the person responsible for the schools. And to a certain extent, the regional development person, Dharamlal, I call the names, that things were highlighted and they did not do anything to put those recommendations, to take action to implement those recommendations. When you're a leader, you can't shirk responsibility. The responsibility belongs with you, and you gotta face reality. And reality is what is happening, what was happening there, not what you would like to happen or want, or what was happening there, and that was the thing. And people just, as we say, sit down on it. They took no action coming out of the report. They took no action to ensure that things were implemented, you know. And the delegation is something that you learn. A delegation is not that, it's a skill, it's an art, and it does not come overnight with promotion or appointment. I'm still saying that the responsibility was the Ministry of Education, and the head got to take the blows. And to a lesser extent, the Ministry of Regional Development is not just passing on things to relevant authorities. You got to ensure that the relevant authorities comply with those recommendations, or with those orders. And if they don't comply, they get it in the head. But you just allow things, just sit on, just pass on to relevant authorities, and left it at that. No way. You have to get a feedback mechanism, to ensure that, hey, this is why it got to be done, and was done to your satisfaction. Not just pass it on them, man. The passing on thing don't work anymore. Well,
And let me highlight another part of this editorial that is very worrying, and to show what is, in my view, the biasness of this COI, chaired by retired Major General Justin. This is where they bring politics into this thing now. Hear what they say in this report. They are quoted as saying in Stabrook News. Further, we find that the issues highlighted in the report were to a great extent inherited by the current administration from the previous administration. It is to be pointed out that while those said issues are being addressed by the current administration, the magnitude of neglect which was inherited rendered full rectification a time-consuming exercise. Unfortunately, the tragedy struck before more could have been achieved. Understand what they're saying? They're saying all of these issues at the dormitory being grilled up, the dormitory not having any firefighting equipment, no fire drill, no clearly marked escape route. They are saying that that was inherited. The government inherited that. They inherited it in 2020. This fire occurred 3 years down the road, almost 3 years down the road. Nothing. So if you're saying, and here this is the policing part of me and the investigative part of me coming, it is to be pointed out that while the said issues are being addressed by the current administration, the magnitude of the neglect which was inherited rendered full rectification a time-consuming exercise. So if you're saying full rectification is a time-consuming exercise, then you should indicate to us what has been done. All right, they had, let me say, 10, 12 recommendations, and because they were time-consuming, you could not have implemented that. Tell us what was implemented. Nothing. And that is why I'm saying this thing has no credibility. This report has no credibility. But if you want to say that the government inherited that from the previous administration, tell us what was time consuming to acquire fire extinguishers to put in the building. That would have been time consuming. What would have been time consuming to have those grills removed from? There's a one day work. One day to put in the fire extinguishers, you acquire them, you put them in, and then of course you have to do some training. Within a limited period of time, all of those things could have been addressed. So that I'm saying this thing lacks credibility, the part that I have read. And remember I said, I have not read the report, I have not seen it, I'm trying to get it, but this is what is reported in the media. And I believe these statements are accurate enough for me to comment on. And then they go on to say, this was the major COI clearly, and hear what Tablet News said after that statement by them, that this was the major commission of inquiry, clearly bending over backwards to absolve this administration from any culpability in the matter. What is astonishing is the failure of the COI to ask Mr. Hussein, that is the man, Chief Education Officer, and certainly the Minister of Education, Priya Manikchand, who should have been summoned before the commission, why the implementation of the Caesar's report had not continued between 2020 and 2023, notwithstanding the stated dereliction of the APNU AFC administration. That is the whole story. So if it is, you're claiming that the APNU AFC administration were derelict in its duty, they didn't implement this report. This man, Caesar, a former chief education officer, had made a report. You claim that they did nothing about it. But you came into office in 2020. Why did you not then seek to address this report? And don't tell me, and again, there was a report commissioned by the very minister, Pierre Manichan, the UNICEF report. They made recommendations about the same grills and all of these things, and nothing was done. And you want to tell me that this commission of inquiry report is a credible one? No way. No way. It's a clear case of whitewashing. And then people are unpicked to do a certain thing. And the question came to me, to my mind over a few days. Like something is wrong with his former chief of staffs. We have Mark Phillips who lied in an affidavit before the court. He swore to an affidavit and he lied in it. Now we have the chief of staff, former chief of staff, Major General Joe Singh. And let me say, a man who I had a lot of respect for, but I gone out the window. I can't respect someone who is stating these blatant nonsense in a report. It's all credibility. I had said before on this program that from the time I saw the lawyer to the commission was the same man who represented the victims' relatives. I said that even though the Major General as a chairman would not perhaps have had the authority to decide who would have been the lawyer, from the time he saw that, he should have objected to that person being the lawyer to the commission. It's a clear conflict of interest. Clear conflict. And he should have said right off, no, we have to have someone who's not involved in that process. But he went ahead, and therefore once he went ahead, he is tainted by that whole process. And I've said I'm so disappointed. I am so disappointed that the retired Major General Joe Singh would bring himself to this. Well, these things that he writes in the report don't make sense to any credible and sensible reader. You're bringing politics in the thing by blaming the previous administration for not implementing these measures. But what did the current administration do since 2020? This is a Caesar report that said in 2017, all right, they did nothing. You inherited this problem. So is it not your responsibility now to address the problem? And then to say that because of it would have been time consuming to implement the rectification would have been time-consuming exercise. Again, I say, if that is so, then tell us what you would have done. Yes, to implement all the recommendations might have been time-consuming, but you must have had some priority recommendations that you feel could have been recommended, could have been implemented immediately. This thing is a joke. This thing is a big joke, and we will address it again. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're gonna move on to another subject. I'll be coming back to this when I get to read the report. CC, what are your views?
It's cover up, whitewash. And I said from the beginning, episodes before, that the minister is key to this thing, key to it. And here's the minister did not testify. And here the minister who commissioned investigation, UNICEF report there, and all the ministers said that she send it to the relevant authorities. Dereliction of duty, you got to ensure it is in your lap, whether it was in a the app new time, it's now your time. And the same broad brush that they used to broad brush the chief fire officer, the same broad brush that you used to use on the minister. Although for me they would use another color paint. I will use a red paint to broad brush the minister.
You made a very excellent point, because if you are blaming the fire chief, Mr. Wickham, for not implementing these recommendations that were sent to him, then I would think that the same method you have to use to blame the Minister of Education, because she, in this case, she commissioned the report from UNICEF. She commissioned this report. These things were pointed out. And all she said she did to send it to cabinet. There was no follow-up by she. She did not do any follow-up. So if you're claiming that the fire chief did not follow up and therefore he was derelict in his duty, and the same standard should apply to the Minister of Education, but this is a real hatchet job that they came here with, the fire chief. And I said again, let me say this to you, fire chief, you better cut and run. Rather than staying and bun, cut and run. You're past the retirement age. I think last week, Friday, was a board day. Either you're 56 or something like that, your board day. This is a lesson. The other man in the prison service who came back and he was at Mazaruni, he ended up getting charged, remand for the escape of Smalley. And I want to say this to persons who are approaching retirement age. When your time comes to retire, take your benefits. Take your benefits. If it is that they want to re-employ you, then maybe you can consider being re-employed. But this extension thing is a dangerous thing, because you can end up losing corn and ox, as Mr. Wickham can experience. Retire, take your benefit, and come back. Retire, get all your benefits, your gratuity, your pension, and then if they want to rehire you, retire. So that what you're getting already cannot be affected, But it is dangerous to sit there and just decide to continue. You ain't get no gratuity, you ain't get no pension, and then something like this happens, they decide they're gonna throw you under the bus, and that is what happens to you. And the next thing coming out of this thing, again, I say I've not read the report, but based on what is being said in the media about the efforts of the fire officer and at Maja, what happened to these citizens? Because initially when we were following, there were lots of clips and videos where those men from Madhya performed heroically. We're pronouncing the word badly. You know, I got a problem with certain pronunciation. They were heroic in their efforts. That is what they say. And then what happens now? What happens? You hear nothing about them? Men breaking the place, rescued a lot of children. That is what the initial report said. They rescued a lot of children. And now we are not hearing anything about them. We are not here. Because I remember saying that based on what was reported, these men should get national award for bravery, because they operated beyond the call of duty. They operated beyond the call of duty. But you're not hearing anything about them now. They throw the fire chief under the bus. As I've said before, the bus is parked. The bus ain't pull off yet. So you better jump off. And again, I say kudos to the Minister of Home Affairs for the statement he made yesterday in Parliament to say that the fire service is not responsible for implementing these things. I had said so long before. I can't see the fire service doing an inspection, and then you expect the same fire service to install, to remove the grill, to install fire extinguishers and all of that. That is not their job. They make the recommendations. You're supposed to implement. There's supposed to be a follow-up investigation to ensure that these things were implemented, and then you go from there. So that is what we have. Cece, do you want to say anything more on this subject before we move on to this madness that continues on the road?
We'll subsequently come back to that, but all I'm saying is that, there can be shifting responsibility. You got to open up your chest and take your blows.
Like Louis used to tell you, open your chest and take the iron ball in your chest. Open your chest when you're wrong. May could protect the iron ball in your chest. And let me say, as we said, we got to move on. Now, road, the thing continues, The carnage on the road in Guyana continues. Carnage continues. It is sad to report that the first accident for the year, the one in front of Ramwell police station where the husband and his wife lost their lives, 2 other persons have now died. The driver of the car that seemed to have been responsible for this accident, he died a day or 2 ago. And I think day before yesterday, a passenger in the minibus also died. So that one accident, the first accident, 4 lives. And we have had several other. I remember reading at least 2 on BV Public Road over the past couple of days. And this morning, as I was on this program, I checked, two persons. Let me tell you what happened there. This is last night. They say, they call it a fatal incident. You know them? Fatal incident on this new highway. They said 2 died and 4 others are injured. Now, reading the report that they released from the police, what they're saying that this vehicle, this car, driven by some young person, they have his age, had 5 occupants, 21-year-old with 5 occupants. They say they get the names, they have not called the names. Inquiries disclosed that the car was proceeding south along the Eastern Carriageway, so it was going up the East Bank at a fast rate. I said the driver approached the junction of Heroes Highway and Diamond Main Access Road, where there is a diversion with reflectors and road markings lawfully placed for vehicles to turn west. That's right, into Diamond Access Road only. The driver failed to make the right turn and at the said diversion and continued further south. In doing so, he collided with some concrete piles lying on the side of the Diamond Access Road. 2 persons died, and all of these persons are injured. Now, there are a lot of questions to be asked from this. Yeah, there's a diversion. Are there proper signs? I'm sure if you were to examine, you're going to see they don't have proper signs because that don't happen in this place. They get a diversion, and leading up to the diversion at 200-300 meters away, you don't have any caution to say, look, this thing is coming up ahead. So I agree, the man might have been speeding, but when you're doing this, you got to cater for all of that. You have to have proper signs, not at the top of the reflectors. Long before you get there, people have to be cautioned that there's a diversion ahead. You're jumping on social media and you're doing all sort of things. That too should be on social media to advise the public. And let me show you something. This whole thing is about lawlessness, I continue to say that the big problem in the road traffic in particular is a reflection of the lawlessness in the wider society. You live in a lawless society, and therefore every aspect is going to reflect that lawlessness. Every aspect. And let me show you this clip that I saw the other day. Hold on, 1 minute, folks. 1 minute, bear with me. Where it is. Look, this is what I'm showing. Look, lawlessness. This is at the corner of Waterloo and Middle Street. It was taking ideal time. This is the type of lawlessness we're talking about. Somebody doing a construction work at the back there. This is the old Christchurch Burntown School. And what the contractor did, or somebody represented the contractor, they blocked the road. Look what they used to block the road. 2 school benches and a caution tape across. That's in the heart of the city, you know. That's the level of lawlessness that you have. And I'm saying this to say that people have no regard for laws and rules and regulation. So it is reflected on the way people drive. And as a former traffic chief, I can tell you, no one has the authority to do that. If you want the road to be blocked for any period of time, they should have made contact with the traffic, the police, and then they will facilitate. Either with put in barriers or whatever, because that there is illegal. That what you have there is illegal. And you don't have to be any bright person to recognize 2 benches and a tape across the road illegal. But that is what is happening. That is what. So you're going to get that. And you know, for this year alone, I have already lost count of the number of persons who have died on the roads. I know it's gone into double figures a long time ago. Because you had the 4 on the Ramvelt accident. You had this 2 last night with the 6. You had, no, well, let me put it this way. At the time of the Ramvelt accident, it was reported that 5 persons died within 24 hours. So that will be 7 persons now. Well, they didn't die within that time. From those accidents, those 3 accidents, 7 persons. The 2 last night is 9. You had 1 Essequibo Coast. You had 1 West Demerara. You had 2 or 3. You had so many fatal accidents. And then the police are trying to cut the figures. And that is the problem too. And let me tell you what I'm saying here. In October, to be exact, on October the 23rd, the commander of Regional Police Division 3, that is West Demerara, reported, and I think they misquoted him here, but he was saying that there were 171 fatalities recorded on the road. Couldn't be in West Demerara, but the article gave you the impression, I think it's Guyana Times or one of those people, it gave you the impression that all of these fatalities occurred on the West Demerara public road. We know from statistics that the West Demerara is perhaps the deadliest roads. The roads in West Demerara are the deadliest roads in the country. But it couldn't be 171. Actually, 171 was the total number of deaths on the roads. That is in October 23. On the 23rd of October, this is reporting. When the Minister of Home Affairs gave his end-of-year report on the 19th or sometime around then this month, they said, and they're quoted here saying that 175 road deaths occurred during last year. Listen to me. Listen to me. In October, it was 171. In October, 171. In December, at the end of the year, the minister is reporting that there were only 4 additional road deaths in Guyana. Only 4 additional. Lie. They're making these statements, and then again, it's an issue of credibility. Somebody feed the minister with this information, and without checking to check and to verify and all of that. But he came with that. Cedar Ryan, the assistant commissioner at West Demerara, he said 171 fatalities recorded. But I said the thing is so worded, it gives the impression that these 171 were across the river. That could not be so. Because later down in the article, it went on to say, tell about between the 4th of October to the 8th, the region recorded 160. It's wrong. It's wrong. Because they're saying in this article, he related that from January 1 to October 8, 2023, the region recorded 138 fatalities from 116 accidents. That has to be inaccurate. I can't believe West Demerara alone had 138 fatalities. It is wrong. I am sure it is wrong. However, I think that he was talking about the entire country, where they would have had 171 fatalities by the end of October, sometime in the middle of October 2023. And the minister in his end-of-year report is saying they had 175 road deaths recorded. And I recall seeing somewhere, I was searching for it, I can't find it, that someone reported that there were 220-something fatalities during last year. But that is part of the problem. People don't want to admit that this thing is a big problem and address it frontally. And I recall the president making a statement too, in his New Year address. The president is reported to have said, let me read it. Let me read them in. The president said that the carnage on the roads will be greeted with a robust safety and traffic management plan. And they quote him here saying, I intend to have a national conversation on the issue within the coming days. Out of that conversation, new laws, regulation, and technology will be implemented to stop the carnage on the road. That is in the president's New Year address. He said it in the coming days, he intended to have this conversation. Well, today is the 24th. I don't know when he's going to have this conversation. He didn't say in the coming weeks. He didn't say in the coming months. He said in the coming days. So one is left to assume that he was talking at perhaps within a week or so. But we in now to the 24th day of the year, and I'm not aware that this conversation was had. And I did say before that if you're going to have this conversation, you already, what's the purpose of this conversation when you've already said that out of this conversation, out of that conversation, new laws, regulations, and technology will be implemented to stop the carnage on the road. And I asked the question then, what was the purpose of the conversation if you've already decided what you are going to do following the conversation? I would have thought that the purpose of the conversation was to get ideas and get recommendations as to how you should proceed. Let me bring in Mr. Conway again. CC, this road problem, my brother, this road problem. I know that has changed people, that has do all manner of things. But what? Let me hear your views on it.
Let me go back to the one last night, yeah, where instead of talking about fatal accident, they say fatal incident, and they said it happened on the road. And let me read again, according to the law, chapter 5102, what is considered a road. So a road means any highway and any other road to which the public has access, and includes bridges over which the road passes, and any wharf, stelling, or part of the foreshore to which the public has access. Let me go one more time for emphasis. Road means any highway and any other road to which the public has access, and include bridges over which a road passes, and any wharf, stelling, or part of the foreshore to which the public has access. What they're doing is that they're cocking the figures. They're ghosting. They're cocking the figures to make things come out favorable to them. And if the figures are flawed, the action you're going to take will be flawed. That the traffic situation is going to have to be data driven. You work according to the data. But if the data is cock, you're going to get cock results, as you say, you know, and they're not honest enough. And if they're not honest enough, things will not, the carnage will continue on our road. It will continue on our road because it got to be, it's a 3D data-driven decision, the 3D approach, that you got to act on the data, and based on the data, you employ your human and other resources to deal with the reality, and the reality is what is happening. But all around they go the cock, and the president said he's going to have consultation with people, but he already decided what will happen. So maybe that's why, Paul, you don't hear no discussion anyway with the president, and they're not addressing the jaguar in the room. They're not addressing corruption. I hear the minister saying that they're gonna get stiffer laws. Here they're saying they're gonna move the fines from $7,500 to $25,000. It's gonna make some police richer, because in this traffic environment, there we have economic blocks straight across the country where they're throwing, they have economics blocks. Every month, every day, $10,000, they're getting bucks, $10,000 a day. It's going on, and nobody really looking at that. So the deadly thing will continue because they're cocking the figure. Therefore, they're not able to deal with the situation, to deal with the reality. As we say, giggle, garbage in, garbage out. Don't mind what activity you create, because you're dealing with garbage and you're dealing with cock figures. Therefore, the solution that you get would be, or to use a fancy word, would be cockish.
Yeah, again, we said over and over, this thing has to be addressed comprehensive, including the attitude of the very police ranks who are there to enforce the laws, because if people don't have respect for them, then chaos will reign. Now, let me show you a clip. It's about 3 minutes long to tell you a part of the problem. I don't want to steal the thunder. So let me show it. 3 minutes, look at it, and then we're going to discuss it at the end of on the other side of this video. Look at it.
All right, so an accident about to happen in this video down here. The slowest moving accident you ever did see, but let me talk you through it. So first of all, these people clearly in a line. Sad man on the right here has come up from the back. Classic example is on Lamaha Street. He's come up from the back and tried cutting in to traffic. There is no corner right behind him, so this is one of the impatient people that are on the roads every day. Can't wait their place in the line and decide they're going to, as we call it, bore, take a squeeze. Okay, so he's rushed up. He's now helping to obstruct oncoming traffic, and he still hasn't managed to squeeze in fully because there's not enough of a gap between these two cars. Yeah, look, he start reversing down here. He decides he's gonna go forward again because again traffic is taking way too long for him. Y'all ain't gonna believe who is in this car. Okay, so now he's stalled oncoming traffic. This is a classic example, happens every day, but I want to show you this because who is in the car makes this even more important. I've been wanting to share this thing with you since last year, but I'm clearing my drafts now. Okay, so there's a bit of a standoff. He is indicating with his indicator that he wants to join the line ahead of those people that have been waiting patiently for the stoplight. So let's see what happens next. This standoff continues. I want you to note in the upper right hand corner there's more cars arriving. So Sadman is blocking up traffic in the oncoming direction just to force his way into the line. Now he decides he's going to force his way forward, and this is where he collides with the vehicle on the left that has not moved an inch, mind you. So he's now squeezing his way forward. You can see the impact has actually forced the vehicle on the left backwards, and now the guy is forced to pull over. After being so busy, he's now pulled over. So this is definitely where you need the traffic police to show up, right? So the driver gets out of the car. He has not done anything wrong. And let's see this guy. Wait. Is a police officer. Guyana police force. The man doesn't even have his pants done up. His belt is not done up. But he is here now motioning aggressively to the driver. And from experience, this man trying to tell this driver that he is wrong. Now you would believe that sad man gets in the car and drive off. What do you think about this? What would you do in this situation? Are the Guyana police force really helping matters? And why are so many police vehicles, private police vehicles, covered with tint?
You see, that's part of the problem. The people who are supposed to be enforcing the law, they are the ones who are breaking the law. That is part of the problem. Even the president and the Home Affairs Minister, they have all at some stage made the point about private vehicles, government ministers, and with siren, when they're not supposed to have those things. Tint. It's looked like now almost every other vehicle you see on the road are with tint. Police vehicles, policemen, never said police vehicle, private vehicles owned by policemen. I'm sure they don't have the necessary approval, but it's just that it's lawlessness. And if you don't address these issues, the thing is going to continue to spiral out of control. Certain basic things, as I say, is a disciplined police ranks have to be disciplined to make sure they follow the rules and regulations. The clip that we just showed you, police rank bullying away in uniform, bullying away in the traffic. Then when he jammed the person out, as it seems he suggested that the person wrong, you can try to bully away now, and the man who is innocent is going to get blamed for this. Wrong. People lose respect for you. That is part of the problem. People lose respect for you. And let me show you another picture quickly. Look, as part of the problem, look. This is what you're seeing here. Look carefully. I tried to get it magnified earlier, but I didn't have the time. Look and see what you're seeing there. You know what you're seeing there? You know what you're seeing there? A policeman in uniform. Look, he get on a white slipper. And it seems to be that he has a firearm on his side. Out in the public, and they say, according to the caption here, this is Stabrook Outpost. Stabrook, a busy place like Stabrook. But then the person who posted it saying that they're saying that same thing at Villeneuve Police Outpost with the sergeant standing right next to consul. That is part of the problem. The breakdown of the disciplinary process, the breakdown as just code, and the image that is projected. You have a rank out in uniform, no headdress on, big white slippers, and the foot in the public. And there is not an isolated incident. You go around now, thing like wearing your dress. We know that back in the day, you failed to wear your dress, you were charged with being improperly dressed. Disciplinary charge of being improperly dressed. The man in the vehicle, the same thing. He just don't care. They are the law, and they have no respect for themselves. They have no respect for the law and all this other thing. Somebody say that he upon sleeper duty. He upon sleeper duty. He can't wear a white slipper on the outside on the road like that with no headdress on and so on. Yeah, you can be on sleeper duty, but then you can't be like that in the public when you are on sleeper duty, right? And you know, that is part. And we had promised this morning to deal with the Discipline Act. Well, again, time has caught up with us, and we're not going to get the opportunity to deal with it because we got a few other issues I want to touch on very briefly, right? So, but what you're saying is correct. Let me tell you something. When we were in the training school, I don't know if it's still there, there's a full-size mirror. And on the mirror, the question is asked, are you a credit to the force? You should stand up here. By your mere dress, how you impress people with your deportment and all of that. But to see policemen sit down all over on traffic duty with cell phone, they even pass the guard huts and so on around the place, they sit down in their foot cock up, cell phone on. That is part of the problem. The people who are supposed to be commanding these ranks and making sure that the discipline of the organization is maintained, they're not doing anything because many of them are indisciplined themselves. Many of them can't tell the ranks anything. Look at this tint issue. I am sure that a lot of the supervisory ranks, subordinate officers and officers, they too have tints without the necessary approval. They too have it. So how are you going to tell a constable or some other junior person to remove it? That is the issue in terms of dress. CC, you would know, we took pride in making sure that we were immaculately dressed at all times, especially when you were in public, especially when you're going into the public, at all levels. Your boots properly cleaned, your hair trimmed, because you never get a second opportunity to make a first impression. I remember a story being told. The other guy, a chubby guy, shouldn't fat shame people, what is the truth? He used to be at Timeri police station, a traffic ramp, massive guy. And the late, great Francis Duncan Clark came from the airport and saw him there, stand up on the road. He had him transferred to another location. Because he said that is not a good image for a person coming into the country. Perhaps the first police you're going to see is this big, fat, obese policeman there. Some might argue, you know, the measures were harsh, but it's the image of the force you have to project. The image you have to project. And it's an old set of, Morty, it's an old set of slackness you've seen around the place. And I'm saying again that the supervisors at the officer and subordinate officers level have to address these issues. They have to address it. Because when people see policemen operating like that, people lose respect for the entire force. And the entire force is affected. Not only the man who carries himself in such a slack manner, but everybody, people say police. People say police. Now we bring Mr. Carr with a comment on this and then I'll move on two brief issues, and then we're going to close it today. See, what is, you saw the tape with the traffic, and you saw the policeman in slippers. What are you, man, been in training at the training for more years? Let me hear your views, my brother.
It leaves me with the impression, Paul, that perhaps the quartermaster is issuing slippers. If you may recall, when they took Travis Chase to CID headquarters to check on his, to unlawfully check on his weapon, that guy who was videotaping the proceedings, that constable, I can't remember his name, how he was dressed, shabbily dressed, and he had a slippers, the same kind of slippers he had on there. So for us, maybe it's easy, and if you ever check, maybe the quartermaster is being issuing them, you know. And as you mentioned, Paul, the same thing with tinted vehicles. Even the marked police vehicle are tinted. They are marked police and they tinted. Tint law has gone through the window. I understand that some minister tell them to, hey, don't bother with tint anymore because we're going to repeal that law that anybody could work with tint now, you know. But once the law is enforced, they need to make sure that they enforce. But then if the police set in the example, the marked police vehicle are in tint, plus the policemen with their own personal vehicles are tinted. So there's the old story. Appearance and conduct is critical. And when persons don't have the appearance of the police, needs much to be desired. Person would have public confidence in the police, you know.
Yeah, well said, my brother. You don't have the public confidence. The appearance and conduct. You know, there's a force order and a standing order dealing with appearance and conduct. You should look at them. See, the Attorney General made remarks about standing order needed to be updated. Many of those things don't need updating. It's just implementing appearance and conduct, how to appear and how to conduct yourself. That is there. So let me move on quickly and close off. There's another issue that I want to bring to attention. I'm going to follow it up more. You know, some time ago on this program, we spoke about Inspector Roop, the man who was in charge of traffic on the East Coast. He was charged since sometime last year, early last year, with a sexual offense, and he was on the job. He was not interdicted. There might have been an excuse at the time because at the time when he appeared in court, there was no police service commission. And being an inspector, he has to be interdicted by the police service commission. So eventually, a few months ago, he was in, I think he's now interdicted pending the outcome of the charge. That is a standard operational procedure. It came to attention recently that there's a rank, Sigo Bin in Borbies, who is charged, detective corporal, charged with a sexual assault committed somewhere in Blackbush, I think it was. And months now, he appeared in court and he is still in the job, or still on the job. The claim that he was transferred to the Office of Professional Responsibility branch in Borbies. This doesn't require the Police Service Commission. This is the man who is sitting in the chair as a commissioner, the extended squatter. He has been dismissing ranks who have not committed any act, disciplinary or otherwise. He's dismissing them. Even when they are charged for a crime and should enjoy the presumption of innocence, he has been dismissing them. The ranks in Borbies, 3 ranks, dismissed. No charge or anything. Now, here is it. This is a man who is charged with a sexual offense, and he is still on the job, Corporal Sigo Bin from Borbies. And this is, again, I say, simple thing. I don't know if the commander knows what to do. The person appears in court. Sometimes you don't even before the report, the written report, you call the staff officer to advise the staff officer that Corporal Sigo Bin appeared before the magistrate with so-and-so charge, and he has been placed on bail. You inform them, I am sending the report to you. So by the time the report gone, his interdiction paper is prepared because he ought to be interdicted from duty, pending the outcome of the charge. You should not have a policeman charged with a criminal offense, a serious offense like that, and he's still on the job. And I want to know if it has to do anything with your name and the connection, because Roop was there. And I said there may have been reasons for Roop to be on for some time. But since the commission was fully complimented, he should have been interdicted immediately. And this case with this Sigobin, same thing. And this is not a commission, the police service commission, because he's a corporal. So the authority to interdict this corporal lies with a man who is sitting in the commissioner's chair, the same man who has been dismissing people without any lawful authority. And he can't interdict a man because I guess the man may have connections. Mr. Conway, I assure you would avoid your man in the know. What are your views on this matter?
It was brought to my attention also too, and let me be more specific, 21694 Corporal Sigobin, 21694 Sigobin, and he's in the office of OPR, Office of Professional. So we go here, OPR investigating OPR, you know. These are simple things. But then you see when you try to Indianize the police force with incompetence, when you get a recruit commando, and I say when you have a recruit commando, you don't get recruit behavior, man.
A recruit a green on, we just a green dongs commander who ain't got a clue what is going on. He should be employed at the Transport and Harbors Department. That is where the sailors work. Can't have sailors in command of a division in the police force. And too many things have been happening in recent times in Bobbies. And I suspect it has to do with the fact that you have a commander there who is in over his head, he really don't understand what is going on. He really does not understand what is going on. This is the same man who told the media that they are profiling people, right? Same man. He's a commander there. And, you know, again, I say, perhaps he's not to be blamed. Because for all you know, we have to give him the benefit of the doubt. He may have sent it to those in headquarters because he, as a commander, can't prepare the interdiction. It has to go to headquarters and be prepared and signed by the extended squatter. Because even though he's signing his name wrong, you know, for years, the man any work for all them months, he signs his, if you see any signature from the commissioner, he signs incorrectly. But it should be the name, and then you say commissioner acting. That is how it is go. That's the standard protocol. So you should say, you have your name, you have the rank, and then acting in bracket, abbreviated. So it should be the name, the rank, commissioner acting. No matter say he just got the acting in front. He has the acting in front. So even the correct way of signing, he doesn't know. So what else you expect? So, you know, they listen, and we are hoping that now that you hear this on this program, this informative program, you will take corrected action. Perhaps the minister will now intervene, or the attorney general, and instruct them to do what is the correct thing. Everett, you say, I'm not distracting transport, but all I'm saying that if you're a sailor, that is where it should be at the Transport and Harbors Department if you're a sailor, right? Yamorti, young dungs. Now, two other things I want to bring you quickly up to date before we move on. You know, we lament on this program that incident occurs, serious incidents, and then for a couple morning, you hear about it, and then you're done. Shelf life done, it's gone. And it's the same thing with the Quindan Bacchus murder on the East Coast in 2022, right? The policeman did not bring a charge. I understand, I was making inquiries, I understand that the PI, the preliminary inquiry, is good. Well, it got to the stage where the prosecutors or the prosecution has closed its case, called all the witnesses, closed the case. And the matter is now adjourned. Can't remember the exact date. Might be the 27th of January or something, I'm not sure. But the matter is adjourned for the defense counsel to make submissions. So that matter gone, and you know, I can't recall seeing anything in the media about this matter, the preliminary inquiry into this matter being conducted. But my information is that the preliminary inquiry commenced, the prosecution closed its case, and the magistrate has adjourned, and for the next hearing, the defense will make submissions. No, most likely, when I say submissions, is the defense counsel will make a no case submission. So let's see how that will go. And the next matter that I was inquiring about is the one on the Essequibo coast, the other one that hit national spotlight, or in Boston, murder by the police. where a policeman ended up being charged for manslaughter. My understanding too is that that preliminary inquiry has concluded, and the police rank, has been committed to stand trial in the High Court. You know, he was charged with manslaughter and he's out on bail. But my information is that that PI, as we call it, has concluded, and is committed to stand trial. Again, for information, it means, therefore, at the end of the preliminary inquiry, the magistrate found that there was sufficient evidence for him to, prima facie evidence for him to be charged, at which stage the next process is that the depositions, all the documents will be sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions, and the DPP, having reviewed, has to commit, right? They will not commit, has to indict. So the magistrate would have committed, and the DPP will have to indict the accused person. So I have been trying to follow up to find out what's going on, because if you look to see what is going on, the media don't follow up on these things, unfortunately. I made the point some years ago that I made it a couple of weeks ago that years ago you used to have court reporters who go into the court and follow up in matters representing the various news outlets, but you don't have court reporters anymore, I don't think. So what happens now when a matter passes through the court? The defense lawyers in most cases, well, in cases too, the police cooperate propaganda unit will say something. Defense lawyers or the defendant or accused persons themselves will have to give a release to say what has transpired. So I thought I'll bring those things to your attention as we continue to follow up and give you valid and credible information. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for his closing remarks. CC, closing.
Yeah, and they have what we call court roundup. I think it's on Channel 28 every night, but then they only deal with Josh Young, Malice and Josh Young, Magistrate Court. I think we had a long day, and I just want to wish everyone a splendid weekend, and we see you on Monday.
We will see you on Monday, God's willing. We always say God's willing. We're going to meet here again on Monday. You know the time, and I say, share this information. I want you to, don't be selfish. I want you to go and make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I will see when I leave here, I am going to check to see those who have subscribed. I will also check to see those who have followed the Facebook page, Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Follow the page. Help to popularize this program. Help to get the valid information spread as widely as possible. So please, I ask you, I beg of you to do that. And as my colleague said, before I say about next week, I want to implore you again to be safe. We haven't touched on the many fires that they have. We haven't touched on so many challenging things that they have in this place. You have to be extremely, extremely careful, especially when you are on the roads. All categories of people on the road, all categories of road users, whether you're a pedestrian, whether you're a motorcyclist, whether you're a pedocyclist, because pedocyclists died last night, I think 2 days ago, West Demerara. Motorcyclists died on the East Coast not so long ago. People in car have died, people in minibus, people in truck. All categories of road users have to be extremely, extremely careful. And that is my urge. That is my admonition to you. Make sure you take care of yourself. And God's willing, next Monday, we will see you here again, and we are going to explore more issues. And, I show other things in a couple. And we're not leaving the COI, this major COI. We're going to address it again, because there are more things to discuss about this report. So until then, have a safe few days and take care of yourself and your loved ones. For now, bye.